Also, yeah, let's get at this since you mentioned it. The men's game is just much more respectful, Dan. Okay? You don't see the men going out there doing the "you can't see me." Oh, come on. Yeah. Where's the game gone?
Yeah, man has never done that.
Men treat each other with dignity and respect. And they're putting up a respectable 10 points and 3 rebounds a night instead of Caitlin Clark's offensive 41 and 13. Get out of here.
Yeah.
It's just ruining the game.
Welcome to Drafted. I'm your host, Daniel Prentice, and as always, I am joined by my dear friend and co-host, Preston Thompson. Preston, how are you doing this evening, and what are you drinking, my friends?
I'm good, Dan. I'm keeping it a little light tonight for a reason that I'll tell you about after you get to our guest. But I'm drinking a Tropicalia from Creature Comforts in Athens, Georgia. Just a good staple beer if you're only going to have one. I'm not like a...
It's not like a pretty... It's like a pretty heavy IPA.
It's a pretty heavy IPA, yeah, but it's not so heavy that I'm like unable to partake. So I love Tropicalia. It's a staple in this house.
He's keeping it light with a simple 9.6 ABV beer.
But only one. That's the key. Only one.
Yeah, of course. Well, I just want you to know, Preston, I'm not coming back to you. If you don't tell us what you're doing later, then, once we get to our guest... It's all our guests. No one will care about you.
Okay, well then I'm going to throw out a question because I need some advice.
Okay.
I have my second ever official tennis match tomorrow for a team. I'm on a team.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
First one was okay. This would be my second time anybody's ever taken score while I play. And I've been okay recently. They subbed out my teammate, men's doubles. Got a text today. You know what? I'll edit this, but I'm going to read the exact text on air.
Read it out.
Hey, Preston.
Give it to us.
We are very short of players this week. I am forced to play Ed Newman with you. He is 91 years old. Obviously not too quick, but I figured I'd warn you. You'll have to cover a lot of court. Sorry, it was either Ed or forfeit. And you know what, Ed? If you're listening... This will air after we've won in straight sets, 6-0, 6-0. So, good playing with you, bud. Hope we can do it again sometime. But 91 years old, guys. What do I do? This is why I'm keeping it light tonight. Well, I'm going to die.
Here's my question. Mm-hmm. He's on the team, yeah?
He is on the team. I've not met him before.
The same as you.
I did not know he was on the team until today.
But so why does he just not play usually? He's on the team, doesn't usually play?
So
I don't understand.
So it's a team of 15, and there's 10 slots every week. So I don't play every week, and it's men's doubles. Apparently, so many people have dropped that we've pulled in the reserves. I'm one of the reserves, and I would think Ed Newman is one of the reserves too. I did have before Ed came into my match. I had a 26-year-old or something like that, but I guess he had to drop for some reason. So now we got Ed. It's Ed and I against the world.
You know what? I bet Ed was a college tennis player or something, and is gonna. He won't be as mobile as he once was, but he's gonna hit some. He's
gonna be wily.
He's
gonna have some weird spin.
Yeah. Gonna be
some no lookers.
He's gonna be dropping dimes all over the court.
Dropping absolute dimes. You're right.
You'll have to cover the court, but
a lot of dimes.
Listen, if I have to die to get us the dub, so be it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Good luck to you, bud. Let us know how it goes.
Thank you.
And we are joined. This is a perfect, person to have for advice on this. This is the best athlete that we ever have on the show. It's
besides the two of us, obviously.
No.
Okay.
Not besides the two of us. Very much including the two of us. We are joined by our good friend Lindsay Soo. Soo, how are you doing? Are you drinking a beverage to celebrate the evening? We are recording this on a Friday night, so there's no better time to have a little booze.
I'm doing great, y'all. Thank you for having me back. Season 4, incredible.
Woo.
I am drinking a Hop Splash, a non-alcoholic sparkling hop-infused water.
Wow.
Because I got so hungover on New Year's Day that I quit drinking, actually.
Wow.
So,
really?
Cheers.
You've not had a drink since New Year's Eve?
I had one glass of wine on Valentine's Day when we went to a very fancy restaurant.
That's appropriate.
But other than that, no.
Wow. You know you don't have to drink so much that you get hungover, right? That's like...
Yeah. It's also New Year's resolution. Who knows? Whatever. I'm happy with my sparkling water choice. Thank you very much.
But what does hop infused mean? I mean, it tastes like beer?
It's basically like hop tea, you know? Like,
no, I don't.
It's just like
That
flavor.
doesn't-
It kind of tastes like an IPA.
it doesn't sound
but
very
it's
good.
Much thinner.
It doesn't.
It's actually very refreshing.
Okay, interesting.
It's like the best. It's like all the best parts of drinking a hoppy beer without feeling like heavy or drunk.
See, to me, I think the drunk part is one of the best parts of the hoppy beer. I gotta be
If
honest.
not the only good part, maybe.
Oh, we can go that far. All right. Next time I'm at Sue's house, I'm gonna try this beverage that they're peddling on us. I am having a Land Shark Lager, which is just like your classic beachy beer. They were on sale at Publix, and it was kind of warm this week in North Carolina, so I was like, yeah, I'll lean into it. I'll get a nice little beachy beer. So that is my beverage for the evening. So we're all keeping it a little light tonight, which I respect. We've all got to keep it light for the weekend ahead of us. Preston, why don't we get right to it? What are we drafting this week?
All right, tonight we are building our perfect year of sporting events, or the sporting events that are most on our bucket list. We didn't really come to a good consensus beforehand.
I think we should do bucket list.
I think so too. I think the year creates too many logistics. Like, what if you pick two things that are at the same time, kind of thing?
Well, okay. Here's the thing. Okay, now little behind the scenes look here. It's never a surprise to me what we're drafting. I know I always ask Preston on the show what we're drafting every week, but I always know. We come to this decision together. And the initial suggestion was best year. But the problem with that is Preston wanted to include things that don't happen in the same year.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to stand for that. So I suggested we do best bucket list instead. So I think that's how we should frame it. We should do sports bucket list, best bucket list. That way you can go to the Women's World Cup and the Men's World Cup, potentially.
Yeah.
Right? Even though they never happen in the same year. So that's how I think we're framing it.
We should set up some ground rules too about. I'll use the two examples you just gave. Question one: if you get the Men's World Cup, can I take the Men's World Cup like quarterfinals? And two, if you take the Men's World Cup, which I'm assuming you would take like the final because it's like a singular event. Like, are you really staying for like 4 weeks or something to watch the whole thing, or like 2 months?
So,
and also, can you take the opposite? Could I take the Women's World Cup if you took men's? That kind of thing.
Okay, I think yes. A men's sporting event does not disqualify a women's sporting event.
Yes.
That is first answer. Second answer, I don't think you get the entirety of an event, but I do think for the sake of the draft, you have to pick. But if you take the World Cup, and let's say you want a group match instead of a World Cup final for whatever reason, you would take the World Cup and then say that. But then no one else would
take the World Cup other events. Okay.
The simplest thing to do is just to allow the entire event for everything. That's the simplest, cleanest thing to do. But I think it's dumb and lame. The bigger question here is, and this needs to be included in the edit. The bigger question here is, how are we going to these events? Okay. Are we going as a general admission, run-of-the-mill attendee? Or is it all like VIP, swagged out experience for everything?
I would say it's...
Because that changes the value of a lot of things.
I would say it's however you want. However you want.
However I want?
Yes.
Well, who is picking?
You don't get to play. You don't get to. Well, there are some events in here where I would rather be in general admission than I would a VIP experience.
How about we say you can pick your seat? I don't want to include like all expenses, like like the amenities necessarily, because like that feels like it maybe. I don't know.
I don't see something on here where I would like really
be
mad if somebody was like, "Yeah, I'm going to the Final Four, but I'm sitting in a box." Like, oh, okay. Live your life. Like, I don't see how that you could really abuse the "you get to go however you want" rule.
Okay.
I'm sure I will have it proven to me by my other hosts here, but I just don't see it.
No, I'm not saying it will break things. I'm just saying it changes the value of a lot of these events, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think some events are a lot more valuable if you get to the VIP experience and then sitting up in the rafters.
Yeah, I would agree, but there are some of these that are only on my bucket list if I'm dropping like $10,000 to go. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to go and then sit in the back.
Okay, all right. I just wanted it. I'm not arguing one or the other. I just wanted to know what
And full singular events on
what
the
the
table.
parameter was.
And we'll see how it goes.
Okay. All right. Good luck, everybody.
Yes.
Oh, I just realized I've not seen the draft order yet. So we're doing it live. Fuck it.
Do it live.
Do it live. The damn thing sucks. All right, here we go. Oh, I get the first pick.
Oh, man.
Sue gets second pick. Preston gets third.
All right,
pick.
I wonder what's going here. The least surprising first pick in the history of our show.
All right. Well, so
Yeah, let's see the receipts here.
So we figured out all the parameters. I guess we're all on the same page. We're saying you get an entire event. If you take the event, you get the entire event. We're all agreed on that.
I think this is dumb. It doesn't seem right. But I don't know what the alternative would be.
Yeah, I don't either. All right. Well, I am going to take the entire Men's World Cup with my first pick.
Interesting.
Wow.
Now, I don't want to give away my strategy here, Dan. But I'm about to, because I feel like it's the question that has to be asked. Are you sure that as an American, you wouldn't rather go to the Women's World Cup? There's at least a chance we will play. I mean, we're probably going to make the semis, if not the finals, if not win the whole darn thing. Seems like that might be more enjoyable to watch.
That's true, but I don't really care.
Oh, okay. That's good. Very anti-American.
Oh, you hate women.
Yeah, and he hates women.
No.
Just hates women.
Listen, I root for the women's national team far more than I root for the men's national team when it comes to...
Well, they just play more often.
Our
They're not
teams.
eliminated so quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they also have to play more competitions just in general to make more money.
Yes.
But, no, I'm not going to the World Cup to root for any team. Which I think will be more fun to be at an event where I don't care about who wins than going and rooting and hoping that the U.S. team wins. Also, I think the women's national team, not to get too off topic here, is kind of on the downslope right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't win the Women's World Cup.
Well,
so I'm just going to go where I expect my team to, It is, and just the whole world. It's more so that the rest of the world is
getting better, and they're just kind of yeah.
Which is good,
yeah,
because other countries are investing in women's sports. But no, I'm just going to go to the biggest, most popular sporting event in the entire world and just soak in the atmosphere of it all, and just absorb other cultures who actually care about men's soccer and actually care about just soccer, period, rooting for their teams, and just lapping all that up. It's also a much higher quality in terms of play than I think you'll get at the vast majority of Olympic sports. And I just don't care about the majority of Olympic sports. I think the Olympics will be cool. I assume they're going to go next pick. Will be cool for the few events you want to go see. But I would enjoy every single World Cup match.
I think it's a mistake philosophically to not align yourself with a particular team. At least test the waters a little bit. I think.
I mean, I would probably pick up a team as I went along,
right? And then maybe you buy a jersey or somebody lends you a jersey and you end up finding a crew to hang out with. I just think the sports that I go to, not watch on TV, but go to where I'm objective, are just less fun. Even if I'm just pretending for a day. I went to an Eagles game last year where I just pretended for a day that I'd been an Eagles fan since I was 7. And I tried to put on a thick accent that I'm sure people saw right through. And I went into the stadium and I got hammered as an Eagles fan in my Brian Westbrook jersey. And I had a great time. But I don't think that's the same experience than just ooh, let me appreciate the inner facets of the game.
I'm not saying I'm not going to root for any team while I'm there. I'm just saying I'm not going to be deeply invested whether the U.S. men's national team wins the World Cup or not.
See, the thing is that Daniel is too competitive and that if his team lost, he would have a terrible time.
Well, that is
Good
true.
point,
But
yeah.
only if a team that I'm invested in. And I'm not invested in any of the teams that go to the Men's World Cup. I vaguely root for the U.S. team there, and then I'll, pick up whichever team, is, the fun story along the way.
Who was it this past time?
Well, I really was rooting for, was it Morocco?
Yeah.
The first African team to make quarterfinals was really fun.
Yeah.
I was big time rooting for Messi to win. His last trophy to win as a player. So I was big rooting for him against France. But there's lots of really fun stories at any World Cup. Now the problem, and maybe actually this will be more fun as someone going, but as a sports purist, I hate that they're expanding the World Cup and that there'll be more teams there. It's just such a blatant money grab. But I'm actually getting more value now because the next Men's World Cup will have a dozen more teams?
Yeah, 12 more, I
16
think.
more teams.
Can I tell you your other mistake, though? You're going to have to go to just one of the worst countries imaginable. By the time you get to do this thing, we'll have made a new country that sets a new low bar, and then you'll have to go there.
You know where the next World Cup is, right?
I know it's here. But the one after they're looking at listen, my point stands. But the one after they're looking at they're looking at Saudi Arabia. I don't have faith that FIFA will find.
It'll be back in Germany or somewhere at some point. I'll wait for it to be in a true soccer loving country, and that's where it will be its best.
Like America.
Yeah,
we love it. All right. I mean, it's
Mexico gets it to be.
Listen, it's literally the
World
most
Cup games in Mexico will be
it's
incredible.
the most unified our planet is at any given time is the World Cup. There's never a time in human history where we're all doing the same thing exactly, more so than the World Cup. So I grant you it's pretty good.
All right, Sue.
I just simply can't believe you didn't take Summer Olympics, which is what I'm going to do, because I think that Summer Olympics is clearly the number one pick. And, I don't know how much of our 20-minute argument about the rules got in there, but even though some of the sports are not at the highest level or the most interesting for them to watch, there are enough that I think do fit that bill and would make it absolutely worth it to take. Plus you can just bop around and see a bunch of different sports, and I think it has kind of a festival vibe and a tourism atmosphere that's like a fun trip, like any of those big international events would be. So you get swimming, you get track and field, you get gymnastics, it's a good time over there. You even get horse dancing, hell.
All right, so that's my question. Which events would you bookmark as ones that you most want to see?
Definitely swimming, track, and gymnastics would be the biggest ones for me. Those are the ones that I grew up watching. And, I think it's the time that, there are other obviously big events for that. There's just the World Championships of swimming, track, and gymnastics, but no one is watching more than during the Olympics. And I think that it's, kind of the epitome of all of those individual sports, which I grew up I didn't do gymnastics, but I swam and I did track. And so I would really love the chance to get to see all of them in one time.
Is there a city that if you waved a magic wand and you're like, okay, I'm going to the Olympics with the next city that they pick, what's the city that would be top of your board?
Probably Barcelona.
Oh, that'd be so sick. Oh my God.
It would be awesome to go to Spain, be on the beach.
Cool.
And also, Barcelona is one of the few cities that having the Olympics there actually helped the city.
It worked?
They did a it worked instead of just building a bunch of stadiums that are going to sit empty forever afterwards.
Yeah.
So that's good as well.
Oh,
all right, here's my pushback on the Olympics. Have you ever watched the Olympics on TV and been like, man, they're having a fucking awesome time in the crowd? Because I don't think that I have.
It is true. A lot of the times you tune into a medal something, like the medal round of, the 800 meter or something, and you're right, it is empty. It is straight up empty.
It's a lot of emptiness. I feel like it's a lot of like, wow, there's really not that many people there. It's a lot of just like families and just, you know, them being really tense, and then kind of a lot of just like polite clapping.
But not to do Sue's
that's what I get the vibe.
Not to do Sue's job or anything, but that there is an opportunity there to like. There's so many athletes like in the village. You could very easily just like go to a bar one night and run into the
just bump into an Olympic athlete.
Yeah, run into the I don't know. German track team and just have like an absolute banger of a night. It would just be incredible. I mean, they're notoriously a little saucy over there in the Olympic Village, so maybe fewer people is good.
If you're just trying to hook up with an Olympic athlete,
Who's
all right.
not?
Here, this is a story for only patrons, Preston. So make a note of this for editing. Do you guys want to hear something very weird about a real person that I know?
Of course I do.
All right, so we'll rope our non-patrons back in. If you want to hear a little diss drama tea from Daniel, you'll have to be a patron. But yeah, so Sue takes the Summer Olympics, and Preston, you have back-to-back selections now.
Okay, it's a little tricky, but if I don't take this, it will not be here by the time it comes back. I have to, and it's the Winter Olympics. Now, I personally, if you took away swimming, which I love, and the short track events, which I love, I very much, event by event, like if you put on a random thing in the Winter Olympics, I enjoy it a whole lot more. If you just hit shuffle play, and we're like, just give me whatever's on right now, I'm like, oh, it's the consolation games in curling for the third place medal, I'd be like, tight. But like, I don't have that confidence about the summer ones. I really do enjoy the winter ones, I guess, more. I'm not making that up. I really do.
That's shocking to me.
I feel like it's less relative to capabilities I have. Now, let me explain. I know I'm not like a super fast swimmer or runner, but I do swim and I do run. I don't snowboard. It looks impossible to me. Maybe I'm just more fascinated by that. I don't understand how they do it.
See, the problem for me when I barely watched the last Winter Olympics. I'm just so uninterested in any of the events that they do for the most part.
Really?
Yeah, and I think part of it is because they all just feel like rich white people sports.
Interesting. Let me introduce you to a lovely little Disney flick called Cool Runnings that I think maybe will
good representation there for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's where I'll push back on that. I don't like the cold, so that's why I would not be as interested in the Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
B, I don't think that it is as good from a spectator's perspective as the Summer Olympics, because a lot of it is like the snowboarding and stuff is usually like a really long track.
You can't like stand on the side.
Where are you going to stand? Yeah,
interesting.
You're going to stand at the bottom, and you'll see them come in, or you stand at the top and you see them start. But it's kind of harder to witness everything. Granted, if you want to go watch the curling, you I'm sure can have great seats for that. But that's just my 2 cents on the Winter Olympics.
So yeah, I asked you this question, Preston. Same for you. What Winter Olympic events are you just getting jacked up about?
Well, I do have a fondness for curling. Definitely curling. I'm fascinated by the long jump on skis. I don't know what the actual event is called, but like we managed to take long jump, quote unquote, and it's really just falling. They're really just skydiving and trying to not die. It's pretty incredible when you think about it, from how high they're jumping up. It's not like, oh, I'm above the ground and I'll land event. They're falling from space, basically. So I love that one. I will say the Winter Olympics recently has felt the need to get a little weird with it too. They're trying to adopt the X Games philosophy a little bit and bring in some more Shaun White style stuff. So I'm definitely there for the snowboarding and the slalom ski racing where folks are on the track at the same time. Oh, and what's it called? Skeleton luge? Where they're doing bobsled, but they're like, but what if we did it without the car? I mean, those people are going to die. It's crazy.
Okay, didn't someone actually die like 2 Olympics ago?
I'm sure somebody has actually died doing that. How could they not have? How could we have made it this far with such a collection of people doing that? And nobody has died doing it. That's part of the thrill.
Yeah, I think someone died in like the like heat or something.
They died in the heat.
I think in the heats. Like
got it. I thought you meant the temperature. Yeah, gotcha.
No. All right, Sue. This is the ultimate question though. Would you have taken the Winter Olympics with either of your next two picks?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh, you wouldn't have either? Oh, I totally could have gotten it later.
No.
Oh man, that's a bummer. But hey, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It'll look good on the graphic. Don't worry.
Yeah, it'll look really good on the graphic. We did really well with like graphic picks.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a good point by Sue.
I mean, I guess it could have come back to me, but you guys have to understand. I was not worried about Sue because Sue has Summer Olympics. I was worried about Dan taking it.
Oh, and that's
fair.
You would have not gone
Olympics.
World Cup, Winter Olympics as your top two. That seems insane that you would have let that go by.
I have Winter Olympics in my B tier, so I've got a lot of things ahead of it.
Jeez. All right.
I just not a big fan. It just doesn't do it for me. They never have. Especially now that like the NHL players aren't in the hockey. The women's hockey is fun. It's like the best women's hockey you'll ever see.
Oh yeah, forgot about the hockey.
But yeah.
All right, well, rough start. But what are you gonna do? We're all just,
that's okay.
We're all
You're
just
gonna bounce back.
fun.
You're gonna bounce back right now with your second pick.
All right, I'm going to take March Madness.
Men's or women's?
What's tricky here is like I'm gonna take men's, I think, because over the years it's given us a lot. But boy, this last time the men's was kind of like there were some great upsets and like some teams made it really far, but like a lot of the games they played in weren't that great. The women's one had some like actual unbelievable storylines.
Men's. Are you locking your answer in?
Yeah, I'm going to. Yeah, okay. You're going to tell me why.
Men's
it's wrong,
college basketball. Men's college basketball is in a bad place right now.
Okay.
It just there are no stars. Now, granted, this is bucket list, so you could wait feisibly until somehow there's.
I'm going to wait until they fix it again. Yeah.
But the thing is, women's college
I don't want
basketball
stars.
Players play stars are what make it fun.
Do you realize that I took March Madness over NBA playoffs? If I wanted stars, I would go do that. Like, the fact that all of these kids are not that great under pressure is what makes it fun. Because it means that Duke can lose to frickin' Princeton on just a random-ass day. Like, it's the fact that some of them do fall apart that makes it interesting and exciting. I don't really care to go see the superstars play. Also, superstars of March Madness emerge. They're not going to go play in the NBA for a little while, but that almost makes it a little more pure to me.
All right,
because they're just etching their name into their own school's little history book.
Who was the star who emerged this men's March Madness?
The guy from FAU, and I can't remember his name. But I don't think you should hold that against me.
I remember his name. Huh?
I don't think you should hold that against me.
All right, I won't hold it against you. But you know, how many women's stars could you name from
Caitlin Clark
wins March Madness?
Yeah, okay, fine, fair point.
Angel Reese.
Yeah.
Let's
get at this since you mentioned it. The men's game is just much more respectful, Dan. Okay, you don't see the men going out there doing the "you can't see me." Oh, come on!
Yeah.
Where's the game gone?
Yeah,
my
man has
goodness,
never done that.
No. Men treat each other with dignity and respect. And they're putting up a
was
respectable 10 points and 3 rebounds a night instead of Caitlin Clark's offensive 41 and 13. Get out of here.
Yeah.
It's just ruining the game.
I think the perfect combination, like, yes, it's fun to get the upsets, but really you want the upsets early and then you want the good teams late.
Yeah. Which
You
is
want,
usually
good
what
teams,
happens,
good
to be
players
fair.
late.
It's usually what happens.
True. This year might be an anomaly. I think men's college basketball is in a worrying place because the good players stay 1 year and leave, and the good players don't do that in women's. They stay 4, sometimes 5 years.
That's
and
fair.
it just makes for better basketball. It just makes for better.
Yeah, but I don't want better basketball. I want chaos. I want absolute chaos.
Right, of course. Sue, you got your second pick. How are you following up the Summer Olympics?
All right. I'm going with my heart here, and the thing that I would really most want to do, and that is the WNBA Finals. I was a little torn on this because the NBA Finals would also be really great.
You also get more games, more bang for your buck.
That's true. ugh, yeah, that's
But
true.
the NBA Finals, it seems like there's always one conference that clearly is going to like run into it and then win, right? Like
That's kind of how I feel. Is that I think that by the time you get to the postseason in the NBA, like it's not usually actually that exciting, and it hasn't necessarily been like super tight in the WNBA either. But I think that there's like they're a little bit closer together in the WNBA, and I just really love the WNBA, and especially if we can pick our seats and we can sit courtside, like. Mm-hmm. That would be sick, so I'm going to go with that.
I think you absolutely can pick a courtside seat. I mean, you're not, like, stretching that to pick, like, and I get to go in the locker room, and I get an autographed jersey, and I get part ownership of the winning team.
And I get to call a timeout whenever I feel like it.
Oh, that'd be great.
Wow. You're just Kim Mulkey. It's like that's your bucket list, just to be Kim Mulkey.
I don't know that I would
get away with
compare Sue to Kim Mulkey.
Assaulting.
Let's not
compare
do
me to
that
Kim Mulkey.
particular one. There's got to be somebody else.
You don't want to be able to berate referees and walk on the court with zero repercussions for seemingly no reason.
She was straight up playing small forward on some of those plays. It was ridiculous.
All right. Okay, I've got a lot of options here, but I do still have some S tier options. I'm going to take... Now, I understand that you guys are going to rip me to shreds for this, and there's not really anything I'll be able to say about it. But I think it will be on a lot of people's bucket lists. Honestly, it might be the most, like... I wouldn't be surprised if it were the most common answer for what sporting event is on your bucket list, at least for American sports fans, and that is going to the Masters.
Oh, I thought you were going a different direction with all that preamble.
I thought you were going a different direction too.
Oh, really?
I'm not going to give you shit for that. So I have a couple things on here where I am not super invested in the sport, but if I'm going to go somewhere, I want to go to peak of the thing. Like, people got to be going crazy. Anyone who's there is a super fan. It's got tradition. And, like, the Masters is that, right? So I think it's fine.
The problem with the Masters, and I'm doing my own.
Yeah, go for it, please.
I'll do it before
I
you guys
baited
do
you,
it.
and you fell for it.
It's just like extremely problematic.
Oh yeah,
there's like a very rich history of racism and sexism that comes with the Masters, but
it's very pretty though.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous, and like it's so exclusive. Like, literally, the only time the public gets to even walk on the Masters, like Augusta National, is for the Masters. Like, they don't even do tours, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, it's just like a beautiful piece of property, and you know that if you're able to do the whole VIP experience, there aren't many VIP experiences that treat you better than they do at the Masters. Just straight up.
So I've never been to a golf tournament, but they seem difficult to watch.
I haven't either.
Because you have to be at the right place at the right time to see the great thing. Like, you're like, okay, I'm going to post up at the 12 to 13 turn, and hopefully, a couple crazy things happen here. Like, it feels like you can't get the zoomed out view that you would get if you watched it on TV.
Well, I think you get to follow the action a little bit, depending on what kind of ticket you get. I think if you get like general admission,
well, no. I mean, you can walk around, but
pick a single spot,
the odds of you missing something or missing the thing that Masters is remembered for are very high. Like, you have to get pretty astronomically lucky to be near, like, Tiger's chip in or something like that, or like Bubba's rescue, like these like crazy moments. You've got to be like on it at the exact moment.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's just not like a very spectator-friendly event. This is a similar issue with with the Winter Olympics. Similar issue for me for like, somebody mentioned to me like a marathon, like the Boston Marathon or something like that.
Right.
But it's not really catered to like someone being there at the same time. And the VIP experience,
I don't think that's for the Masters, I have to be honest.
Well, yeah, I know people are in love with the Masters. I will give you shit because golf is boring. And because totally I just wouldn't care to watch that at all. But I understand why you picked it. Okay,
fair enough. And then my next pick here, I'm going to go for the other very well-trimmed green playing surface of Wimbledon.
Nice. What made you pick Wimbledon over other things in tennis?
The prestige. I think Wimbledon. Like you talk about the best of the best. I think there's no question that Wimbledon is like the most prestigious, most iconic of all of the slam events in tennis.
But I don't think, and I don't think I'm going to end up taking this, so I'm not giving anything away. But I don't think it seems as fun as the U.S. Open. The U.S. Open seems like cool.
The U.S. Open. All right, now this is the tennis opinion. Okay,
go ahead.
U.S. Open kind of trashy.
Whoa,
kind of trashy.
Whoa.
You get your loud mouth New Yorkers at U.S. Open.
That sounds great.
That don't respect tennis culture. You know,
tennis culture.
Tennis. You go. You get a the strawberries and cream thing. Pims and Pims and whatever the thing that you have with the Pims.
Pims and more.
It's
Pims.
just it's a whole thing. I think the cultural experience. And I've been to the U.S. Open. I've not been to like the finals or anything like that, and it was fun. But I think, and especially if you get if we get to pick where we sit, then I'm sitting in the fucking
right behind one of the coaches,
friends and family box of whatever top player. Yeah.
Do you get to see?
That would be incredible.
You get to see both men's and women's tournaments.
Oh, that's
or
a good question.
Doubles,
I think
and
yes.
mixed doubles and all the other stuff.
I probably, honestly, I mean, if I got to go for free, I would go to the doubles probably, but I don't really care for the doubles. But yeah, I think I should probably get men's and women's. Right? It's all one event, so
I'd say so.
Okay.
Do you guys think I'm going to get to the court tomorrow and Ed Newman's going to be like, I played at Wimbledon in 1934. How do we say the same year? Why is that what we were thinking? Huh, interesting.
We've done too many of these shows together.
Oh, Ed, you crazy dog!
You'll have to do a recap of that for our patrons.
Okay.
Of the tennis event.
I should just get my wife out there and have her film the whole thing and have it be a Patreon only tape.
Beautiful. All right, Sue, it's time for your third pick.
Great pick, by the way. I think Wimbledon's a good one. I don't know if I agree with that it's better than the U.S. Open, but it's a great one.
We like the trash.
I am going to pick something that is potentially going to upset one of my compatriots here.
Uh-oh.
But I think this is an important category for me to get, and so I am going to pick the Iron Bowl.
What?
Whoa!
That is wild! Sue! Sue, just for that, I'm going to buy you tickets one day, and we're going to go to an Iron Bowl together. That'd be so fun. So
this is, I wasn't sure.
This is a ridiculous pick. Let's just.
And let's be clear to some of our listeners. This is the college football game between Alabama and Auburn. I went to Alabama, which is why I just sat up 3 inches higher in my chair.
So, okay. I'm going to go ahead and reveal something in that. And I don't know if anyone is going to try to take this, but I think that the instinct might be to have the Super Bowl on your bucket list. Mm-hmm. But I think that that's a terrible idea. Because the Super Bowl is just objectively way better to watch on TV than it is to actually go in person. But I think that college sports are just some of the best ways to watch sports. And I only care about football if it's would be watching a college sports game where it's an intense rivalry that people really are invested in.
Invested in.
It's going to be packed. It's going to be crazy. You might see some fights. And I think that is just probably the best version of football that I would care to watch. So that is why I picked it.
It's not the best college rivalry, though.
I think it depends.
I don't know.
I think it depends. There was a period there where it was. There was a period there where the winner of the Iron Bowl was the national champion for 4 years in a row. That's really saying something. There's been some, and even if it's not it is one. I know everybody says this about their rivalries, but listen, I have field experience on this one. If Alabama was 0-9 and they got their win against Auburn, then it's fine. It's not fine, but okay, we got it.
Okay, can we rewind to the 4 years in a row thing? How many of those years was Auburn? Alabama won 3 of the 4, right?
Yeah, it was. They won 9, 11, and 12, and Auburn won 10.
Okay, how many of those years was like Auburn, if they had won that game, going to be in the playoff consideration?
It's a fair question.
I'm pretty sure none of them.
Except for,
sure
well, there wasn't a playoff, so it is none of them. But yeah, I take your point.
Okay, but yeah,
into a New Year's Bowl consideration, then yeah.
Basically, what happened was Alabama was a dynasty, so every year they won the championship, and then there was the one year where Auburn had Cam Newton, so they won.
But there's still most of the time weirdly close games. Sue is absolutely right about the energy that is brought into those games. Sue and I are on the same page of like a lot of what's fun about this is the surrounding energy, like the actual. Product you're being shown is sort of secondary to the fanfare and to the viewing experience of seeing it. And Sue, I mean, are you picking a side here? I would say you can't go to this one as an objective fan. There are like laws against it, but
he already said he's buying your tickets.
Yeah, if we're going together, I'll for sure roll Tide. Let's go.
And I want you to like do the full bit. You know, we're getting you the jersey.
Like you said with the Eagles game, I could give me a jersey. I'll be all in.
We'll do the traditions. It'll be great. I've been to 7 of these things. I counted in my head while Sue was talking. I've been to 7 of these things, and they are pretty amazing. This was on my list. I thought I would get it in the 6th round because I didn't think either of you two were going to give a shit. But,
I was never going to.
Yeah, there were other considerations. Like I had just like a rivalry category, and there are definitely certain considerations, but we can talk about later why I didn't. I just thought that this one would be like, obviously Michigan Ohio State was another one that I thought about, but those are oftentimes like actually like not that close either. And
recent years they've been pretty good.
Special.
Yeah, recent years they've been.
Yeah, okay.
And have actually been games that determined who was making the playoff.
That we traded with them. Yeah.
But I think there's like just kind of something special about SEC.
You want the Southern energy for all of its faults. It really comes in great on that college football Saturday. There's nothing like an Alabama tailgate for the Iron Bowl. There's chandeliers hung under tarp tents. There's roast pig over a fire. It's unbelievable. It's just mwah.
See, I think a lot of people who are more neutral than Preston would counter perhaps with the world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
No.
Georgia, Florida.
Yeah, played at a neutral site. So good luck with that one. It's just not as much fun. Like, it's so much more fun.
I think the people that go to it have a lot of fun.
Listen, the population of Tuscaloosa, Alabama is 35,000 people. On Iron Bowl weekend, it's 450,000.
So,
it is almost half a million people come into that city. Cell phone towers cannot support the traffic, and you are unable to call people. You go back into the Stone Age for a weekend because there's too many people.
You're just giving him the biggest alley-oop to just spout Bama
propaganda.
Fucking nonsense at us. Propaganda, thank you. That's what I was looking for. Okay. All right. So I'm shocked by that pick, I have to say. If I was going to go college football rivalry, there are definitely a couple that I would go over the Iron Bowl.
Really?
But
how many more? How many more would you have gone for?
I mean, at least for sure would do Ohio State, Michigan.
Okay. I think that's like fine. Are there others that I can yell at you about?
I mean, off the top of my head, there are others that, would mean more to me personally, but no one cares about Auburn, man. No one cares about Auburn.
I care.
I know you do. People outside of Alabama do not care about Auburn.
But that's what gives it the flavor. It's what gives it the energy. Is like, just for a day, everything is about this. On 364 days out of the year, they talk about the Iron Bowl, and on that last one, they play it, man. It marks people's lives in that state.
I just think it's a narrow
their lives
scope.
are defined by stretches of Iron Bowl wins and losses.
Okay,
I'm gonna say that Daniel, you're the one who hyped him up this time, so I'm blaming you for that one.
All right,
man, Sue, I just love it so much. You made me so happy.
I come on this show to get Preston's approval, so
I don't know why, but I'm glad you do it. You're the only one.
Yeah, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. I consider Sue to be one of my closest friends. That really cut me deep.
You never approve of my choices. So it's when I come on the show, it's to fight Daniel and to have a good time with Preston.
I think that's probably true for a lot of people. All right, Preston, give us the final pick of the first half of the draft before we take our halftime intermission.
Well, I think I've already lost this one. So I'm just going
say
to
that.
no. It's
You've
fine.
got
It's fine.
Sue just took the Iron Bowl in the first half of the draft.
No. It's
okay?
fine. It's fine.
You've got plenty of space.
I just want to take an opportunity to talk about stuff that's fun for me, which I will do in the second half of the draft. Not that this first event isn't fun, but it's a very standard run-of-the-mill pick, and I'm going to take the Women's World Cup because I am a good American, and I want to go to the one where we're going to win more. Also, when's it? It's in New Zealand this next time, right?
New Zealand, Australia.
Boy, that sounds fun. That sounds awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I looked into getting tickets, but it's like $3,000 just to fly to Australia.
Yeah. Can you take a boat?
I could if I, just wanted to spend 2 months of my life doing it, I guess. And it probably also would still be really expensive.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe if I just canoed there myself.
Ooh, there you go. That sounds good.
Wouldn't be so bad.
But this is I'm
What, Sue, do you
taking
have thoughts on
for
this pick?
all the reasons that Daniel said, but better because America's going to perform well.
Listen, I think the Women's World Cup is great. And yeah, it would be very fun to go. I don't think you're ever getting the same cultural experience that you're going to get at the Men's World Cup, which I think is a shame. I think the Women's World Cup, all those athletes dedicate just as much time and deserve just as much love and excitement as their male counterparts. But the fact of the matter is, the world doesn't, flock to the Women's World Cup in the same way that it does the Men's World Cup, and you're just not going to have the same.
But maybe
atmosphere.
maybe not in terms of tuning in, but I mean the stadiums are crowded and people are there and
They're there. A lot of Women's World Cup games are not jam-packed.
well, then my Olympics argument comes.
Listen,
in. I can go out with one of the teams and just have a grand old time.
I think it is a good pick. I think it's a fine pick. I'm just saying I don't think you're not getting my pick that I took for Sue. You're not getting an equivalent.
Yeah, I guess so. But if I'm going there to root for the U.S., I think it's an overall better experience.
I 100 times out of 100 would prefer to go to the women's World Cup
Absolutely,
than
of
the
course,
Men's World
of
Cup.
course,
I'm with
but-
you on-
Absolutely, you would. Absolutely.
Okay, but
Sue, do you care to pay me any more compliments before we go to our break?
I don't know. I just don't think that's that hot of a take. I think
it's a hot take. You have to remove yourself from the bubble. There's a reason that the Men's World Cup is so much more attended than the Women's World Cup.
And what's that reason?
Because people are sexist.
Nice. You rescued.
But that
you
makes
rescued
for
it.
more. It makes more intense atmosphere. You're just not getting the same atmosphere
Because the sexist cheer harder.
No, because there's more of them and they care more.
Okay, take it a break before I get in a fight with Daniel.
Patreon
All
only
right.
fist fight.
We're at the halfway point. And just a quick recap here for what the teams are so far. I have the Men's World Cup, the Masters, and Wimbledon. Sue has the Summer Olympics, WNBA Finals, and the Iron Bowl. And Preston has the Winter Olympics, the Men's NCAA Tournament, and the Women's World Cup. We'll be right back to the second half of the draft after a quick timeout.
All right, Dan, real quick, a little mini draft of Patreon perks that our Patreon subscribers get. Go ahead.
Ooh. Okay. My first pick is going to be getting ad-free episodes that also have bonus content that normal plebes never get to hear.
Well, the best thing we've ever done for our patrons, which I'm fine to get on second pick here, is the actual cocktail tasting that we did with Pat, you, and myself, where we put our money where our mouth is and we drank our actual cocktails that we drafted on the show. You've got to see that video because I'm a little ashamed it's out there, but boy, go find it.
Yeah, Preston keeps referencing that too. It's changed his life, that episode, so you got to check
Truly.
it out. And a big shout out to the people who are already supporting us on Patreon. We got Adriax, Sarah M. Prentice. I wonder who she's related to. Lindsay Soo, Ben Liska, Bobby Duggleby, Tim Votang, Shark Lady, Cody Glazer, and MC Prentice. Boy, a whole lot of Prentices on there. Shout out to the Prentice
I know.
clan.
The Thompsons got to step it up.
Yeah, we really got to get on that. But yeah, thanks so much to everyone who supports us on Patreon already. You guys aren't hearing this ad, so I don't know why we even did this bit. But, if you want to know that other people are hearing your name next time, join us and support us on Patreon. We'd love you a lot. We We are back for the second half of the draft. Preston has our first pick of the 4th round. Preston, where are you going with this one?
Before I do, you mentioned on the show, Dan, you're getting into rock climbing, right?
A little bit, yeah. Sue has gotten me into it.
Sue, does Sue, what's it called, belay you?
So we did belaying for the first time, our most recent time. I did not like it as much as bouldering.
I would not have Sue do that in the future after this episode. I just think there's a potential they may... Whoopsies. Didn't have it tied on right.
Listen, it might not be. I might not get invited to go rock climbing with Sue again after this episode.
That's right. Hey, listen, you got to do it for the pod. Do it for the pod. All right.
That would be good content, huh? Me just Sue murdering me on the top ropes.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's get weird. I want to go.
I thought you were setting this up for a. I thought you were going to pick a rock climbing event. Was your
no?
That's right.
I'm worried about your safety. Let's get weird. I want to go to the Kentucky Derby. Now listen.
Yeah, that's
everything Daniel said about the Masters, about problematic culture elements. That goes here, but this seems very fun. I don't like horse racing. But this seems like this isn't about the actual thing. The thing lasts, 3 minutes? I don't care. This is about, like, the environment, right? Get a mint julep. Ooh. Ooh. Get a hot toddy. Ooh. Ooh. It just seems so fun. I'd wear my snazziest little outfit. Wear, like, some blue shorts, but, like, a blazer, like a white blazer over it. And I've got, like, an old barbershop hat with, like, a feather coming out the back of it. And just some sweet little shades. I'd have a grand old time.
Have you ever had a mint julep?
Derby. Yeah, they're pretty good.
I think they're disgusting.
All right. Well, I think you're disgusting. Anyways, the Kentucky Derby sounds like a great place to be.
Do people like mint julep? Have you had a mint julep?
No, but I get what you're saying, Preston. I think
it is part of the experience. I know
this was part on my board for sure. I think it's fancy, and you get to be high society and like watch horse racing,
right?
And it's not really about the event as much as it is about just like being there and like having a good
I feel
time,
like this has a similar energy to the Masters, where like this is the time the rest of the world cares about your thing, so therefore they go all out. It seems great. And I'm getting like, I don't need to have like the incredible VIP experience. I don't need to go into the stables, but like I want to be in the nice box so that I'm like, I get to my seat, I've placed a couple bets, whatever it is, and I sit down and be like, oh, is that Jack Nicholson over here? Come on, let me look to my right. Is that Maggie Smith? Oh, and I think across the way, yes, that's the Obamas. Wow, interesting to be at this Kentucky Derby. It just brings out
so you're going more for the people watching.
It's got to be elite level people watching, right?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Golly. I mean, it seems great. I'm excited.
Plus, you get to wear like a big fancy hat that you would never get to wear otherwise.
Huge fancy hat. That honestly, just for the fit check, I'm having a great time.
Now, I think that they don't let you do this anymore, but my parents went to the Kentucky Derby back in the day, and they got to sit on the infield, which seemed like the real way to do it.
Yeah.
You just get to go and like be like people would have like secret compartments in their coolers for booze.
Well, that's definitely the ideal NASCAR experience. I don't know if that translates to the horse track, but I have done.
Apparently, it did.
Infield,
that's how people did it back in the day.
The infield at Talladega is. I don't. If anybody was thinking about drafting that, I would not. Yeah, it's crazy.
No, not to give anything away, but I didn't have any motorsports on my list.
Okay,
just not a motorsports guy.
But anyways, Kentucky Derby is it for me. I'm gonna try and capture the things that like you don't care about the sport, but you would still want to go for the experience. You know what I mean? I don't need to see the elite level of anything here. Like, these are beyond the game, right? Yes, they're nodding their heads up and down, listeners. In fact, Daniel's actually mouthing the words, "You won." He's just mouthing it over and over again. He's saying, you did such a good job. I'm so proud of you. Thanks, Dan. It's really nice.
You really lost me there. I was like on board with this pick, and I don't know what just happened, but it made my brain stop working.
Okay.
So I'm just going to give you props for the good pick here.
Thanks.
And tease Sue
Just let me stop talking.
Yeah, for Sue's next selection, unless they have thoughts in the Kentucky Derby as well.
Nope.
Okay. All right, so what are you going with for your fourth round pick, Sue?
I'm gonna go with the X Games.
Whoa.
Oh.
I think this just gives me more variety. I've really covered my bases with the Olympics, and while it's like, again, it's not necessarily like, I mean, like, you know, the 2000 like Olympic final was like one of the best games of soccer that have ever happened, but you're not guaranteed that every time, obviously, but I do have a lot of sports there, so I think I just want to keep diversifying and get the X Games, get some of the, you know, there's like skateboarding, there's dirt biking, there's all sorts of like weird kind of fringy stuff. Gives you like a little different environment. You'd be around some emo kids. It's kind of got a festival vibe, I think, yeah.
So, Sue, you teased earlier, I'm not sure if it made it in the show or not, but you talked about how there were 3 events that were like the Olympics. Was this the third event you were thinking of?
It was not, although it kind of gives that vibe as well, because it's kind of a, like, again, it's like a longer event with lots of different sports that are being
More
played.
variety, yeah. Yeah. I did not have it on my radar, Preston, did you?
I did not, but I feel like I should, because I do think it's a good pick. I don't know that if you have the Olympics, you're picking up. I think the Venn diagram is pretty layered on top. You know what I mean?
Aren't a lot of like the X Games sports in the Olympics now?
I think they're getting more. They're getting more of them.
Yeah. Not all of them, I know,
yeah.
But yeah, I think so.
But I do take Sue's point that it's like a different environment. You know, like the Olympics aren't sponsored by Monster Energy. This is a whole different landscape you're walking into. But I do think there's like, I think this would be the thing you take if you didn't get either of the Olympics. So I'm curious to see how the people react to it. But Sue's been really nice to me today, so I really think it's a fabulous pick. I think it's a fabulous pick.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Also, there's always
our allies.
At least when I was growing up, and like I had more friends that were into it, so we would like watch clips of it or watch it like live together. There's always somebody who's trying to do something that's never been done before at the X Games. There's always somebody who's like, I'm going to land 6 backflips, and I may break my neck, or I may do it. And like, that doesn't happen at other places. There's no like certainty going in that like, oh, I'm about to watch somebody at least attempt to break a record. Pretty cool.
I saw this recently. I don't know if it was like a YouTube reel or TikTok or something, or maybe an Instagram. Or I guess it's an Instagram reel, YouTube short, right?
Wow, you're like the only one who watches those.
The Instagrams?
Instagram reels and YouTube shorts? Yeah, both. I think you're single-handedly keeping those platforms alive.
Every time I see YouTubers, they're like 6.4 million views. So
and it was on TikTok like 2 months ago.
All right. But no, the point of the story was that like it was a guy trying to do some bike trick, and he lost an eye because of it.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Horrible.
Was he holding a sword? Like, what the...
No, it's like he was doing some like crazy bike trick.
The trick was he was like trying to make himself Edward Scissorhands
and
then do a backflip.
Juggling the swords. That was the problem. Yeah. No. He was jumping onto like an elevated platform and then hit the front of the bike so hard that like he jolted his eye into his handlebar or something, and he lost his eyeball. So anyway, you could see something like that at the X Games, perhaps.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
I really didn't think of the X Games. I felt like did they not peak? Did the X Games not peak with like Tony Hawk and stuff? Are people?
I think that was just we were more into it back then. There's probably new people that are.
Tony Hawk might still be there. You know, he's still kicking. Honestly,
no, he. I know Tony Hawk retired because I feel like I remember like I saw him like announce that he retired or something. That he was. But
there's probably new.
Even like casually.
There's like new people that are doing crazy things.
Up-and-comers.
Yeah.
Yeah, there probably is, right?
I will say that it like this would be at its most popular probably in like the mid 2000s, but I still
like
think that it would be fun to go to.
Yeah,
it probably would.
It started to go downhill after that song "Bangarang" came out. What can you do after that?
Yeah, the marker in time that we all use.
Yeah.
You know, like we use like,
Is it
AD
it's
and BCE.
Pre-Bangarang or post-Bangarang? When did Bangarang come out?
It'll be the new time marker 1,000 years from now.
Yeah, it came out in 2012. I feel like that actually was a very pivotal moment in our world.
Now, Sue knocked this pick earlier, and honestly, I think their logic was sound. But just for name recognition, I have to take it. I'm taking the Super Bowl. And I think if you go to the Super Bowl and sit in like a crazy VIP private suite, you're having a great time. You're honestly getting probably better people watching than you get at the Kentucky Derby these days, which Preston was touting as a Kentucky Derby seller. But yeah, I think just to say that you've been to the Super Bowl, it's like a pretty exclusive thing. So I'm taking it here.
Have you ever seen those videos of people taping the halftime show from their seat? It's terrible.
I'm not going to the Super Bowl for the halftime show.
I'm just saying, like, the viewer experience is not the priority. Yeah. I'm taking the experiences I can't get by watching it on TV, and I feel like I get the Super Bowl.
How much time is commercials, like, for the Super Bowl, and how much time you're just going to be sitting there
doing nothing.
Just like, it's so long.
In my VIP suite, though.
Yeah,
it's the same for the Iron Bowl.
What are you
doing? What?
We got special games.
Eating great food.
We got high school bands coming out. We got a dog that can catch frisbees. We got all sorts of stuff. Don't you worry. It's gonna be fun.
Listen, I want to see Rihanna like in her glory. I don't want to see her from 100 yards away.
Do you think anybody at that Super Bowl could tell that Rihanna was pregnant from where they were sitting? No, they were too far away.
Yeah.
And don't you want to be one of those people?
I won't go. I know Sue's already mad at me, so I won't go too much into this. But I never get excited about the Super Bowl halftime shows.
Well, I don't get excited about the Super Bowl. I get excited about the Super Bowl party, and that's the whole point. Is like, I by the time we get to the Super Bowl, I either feel like it's going to be a lopsided game, and it usually is, or I just really don't care about either of the teams.
True.
I don't think the storylines of the Super Bowl are as compelling as some of these other things. I would rather hear a storyline of a horse than I would Patrick Mahomes for the eighth frickin' time.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Kentucky Derby. I listen, I won't try to sell you two on it. I think the vast majority of
there will be a lot of people who are attracted to your team because you have the Super Bowl, but
people are going to be like, he got the Super Bowl in the 4th round, and that's why I'm picking it.
Yeah.
And then next I will take the women's NCAA tournament.
I mean, yeah, if you're getting what happened this last year, you're getting a dub there for sure.
Well, I think it's been the trend for the women's tournament. Like I said, you get the star players because the really good players stick around.
Yeah, but historically,
you still get the same chaos.
Yeah, historically in the women's tournament, it's like 1 seed heavy, right? Like UConn. There are not a lot of 15-2s or 14-3 upsets. Like not in the same scale as there are in the men's one, because to your point, everybody's bad in the men's one, which is great. Some of them are like playing together for the first time, and they like barely know how to hold a basketball. They're like little tykes running around. It's great. I think in the women's one, they're almost the powerhouses are too good.
All right, so let's dig into this then, shall we? Mm-hmm. Because I think if you want to talk about an event that is better to watch at home on TV, if the thing that you care about is the upsets, it's much better to watch March Madness on TV, because March Madness on TV means you get to see every single game that's happening. If you're at a game, then you're not seeing that. You're seeing your one game that may or may not be at a time that may or may not be a big upset.
Yeah, but can't your argument be made about the World Cup too? Like,
no, because the World Cup games are staggered.
I mean,
and they're all in the same country.
I guess, but like, I'm also going to the entire March Madness event. I know logistically I can't be in Houston and LA at the same time, but like, I can fly.
But I'm not touting the chaos of the World Cup as a selling point of the World Cup. You're touting the chaos of the men's tournament being better than the women's tournament, but you won't get to see it if you're there, nearly to the same extent as if you're watching on TV. That's all I'm saying.
And you're taking the women's one because. I was waiting
get
on
the March
you.
Madness experience. Oh, okay. Because I feel like I get the same things that you get out of the men's tournament, but arguably better.
Okay, I don't know about that. there's got to be a certain energy inside a March Madness stadium when that chaos does happen at the court that you are at, which at the frequency that it does take place happens. It's got to happen at the game you're at some point. You're going to a ton of games, so it's. I still think it would be unmatched. So I think you're only going to start having fun in the Final Four and the finals. I'm going to be having fun the whole time.
I see.
There was a small chance in the Final Four this year in the men's bracket that we were going to get an FAU UConn final, which is dumb. It's silly and dumb, but I love it. It's incredible.
I agree.
There was never that chance on the women's side.
I'm actually with Daniel on this.
Okay, that's fine. I appreciate you leaving it at that.
All right, Stu, what's your fifth pick?
I'm a little torn, so I'm going to punt to my last category that I want to get, which I know that neither of y'all are going to take. Yes, we'll go over it in the next half of the show. But I am going to take the roller derby national championships.
Whoa.
Wow. Where are these held in the same place? You're going to have to tell us.
Yeah, you're going to have to give me the pitch.
It's in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's
every year
indoors.
Awesome.
I actually don't know if it's
a real
but
tourist trap.
like,
Lincoln is.
I just feel like roller derby is like low key probably an awesome sport to spectate, and I think that going to see it at the highest level in indoor spaces are really fun and like high energy, and I just think it would be badass and it would be fun to go to. So that's why I'm picking it.
It probably would be badass. I think I would like it more as like a last pick, but it doesn't ultimately matter what order the picks are taken. But I did not have this on my radar at all. Preston, did you?
I don't think that any of you are going to take any of the other things that I'm considering. Okay. So
I'm sort of in that boat too.
I haven't decided on my other one.
Where my last picks are creeping up because
you guys are all going obscure from here.
Yeah,
huh?
Basically. We're having more fun. I want to know how each of you would fare in a roller derby contest.
I can't even skate, so not
good. I'd say then. I think you'd have a hard time getting started.
yeah.
Sue, what do you think?
I think I do all right. I think that presuming that I'm fully recovered from my injury, I'm a little bit on the taller side, which could help me with speed, but wouldn't help me as much for like stability.
Be bad.
A little
you get tripped
heavy.
up.
But I'm pretty tough. So I think
very
I could
tough.
take some hits.
Are you a good skater, Sue?
I honestly have not skated since I was like in the third grade. If I like,
okay.
I've done ice skating and I do all right ice skating. So I think with skates I do okay. And I think I'd pick it up fast.
Okay. Post ultimate roller derby career for Lindsay Soo.
We'll see.
I'll be there.
I can see Sue being a dominant. I shouldn't say this because I know basically zero about roller derby, but I could just see Sue being a dominant roller derby force. Actually, Sue, do you remember this? We had a conversation back when you still liked me about what your roller derby name would be. Do you remember this?
No.
What?
Really?
What was this?
Really?
Oh
this was when we were driving back from Charlie's wedding. with Lisa, and we were talking about like what our roller derby names be, and we decided you were gonna be you were the tsunami.
Oh, that's
tsunami. Yeah. Okay.
And then Lisa Patrick Segemiller's girlfriend Lisa was gonna be because her last name is Kowalski. Not to dox her too hard, but she's gonna be the Brick Kowalski.
That's pretty good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I think there's a world in which I don't know. I'm sure that doubles. Roller derby is not a thing, but if it was, Lisa and I would be a force to reckon with.
Tandem. Yeah. Well, I my only knowledge of roller derby is the movie, the Ellen Page movie. I can't remember what it was called. But aren't there like tandem positions? Aren't there where like people are like, I don't remember, but I feel like we could work in lockstep with Lisa. Yeah.
Also, that movie was called Whip It.
Sorry, hang on. I need to correct myself. I misnamed Elliot Page.
Everybody has to be really patient. Okay, I got it. Have you guys ever done the exercise of finding your stripper name?
Wait, what was that? Pause.
Okay, it's a pretty simple question. The exercise of finding your shipper name. It is the name of your first pet and the street you grew up on.
This is your porn name, not your stripper name.
I mean, I think it's flexible, but okay, sure. Your porn name. Do you know what, Daniel? What is your porn name? Because I think I have everybody beat.
Theo Sunset.
Never mind. That's pretty good. That's very good, actually.
Wait, is it your first pet or is it your
first pet?
Your current pet. Your first
pet.
Mine
and
is
then
bad.
Okay, go ahead, Sue.
Oh.
It's Thompson High Meadow.
Wait, your first pet was named Preston?
Hey, what was it? Your first pet was named Thompson?
Yeah.
That's a cool name.
He's a little black cat. I love that cat. Thompson Valley Forge, actually.
Thompson Valley Forge. That sounds like some company I'm going to make later on in my life.
Drop the Thompson and just be Valley Forge.
Valley Forge is pretty good. Yeah, great. All right, I think Theo Sunset is going to be co-starring with Angel Blackwater.
Is that yours?
Angel Blackwater.
That's so good.
Mysterious.
That kind of sounds more like a comic book assassin or something.
Yeah,
than a porn star.
That's also great.
But undeniably a great name. Yeah. All right, thank you for that, Preston.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You now get to follow it up somehow with your final two picks.
Yeah. I think I know what these are going to be. Here's the thing, drafted fans. Daniel said he's not going to take motorsport. I'm going to take a guess that Sue is not going to take motorsport, but I'm not positive. I have 5 motorsport events on my list. I'm obviously not going to take 2, so I've got to pick one, and that's very difficult. But I think I'm going to lean towards what I think is probably the worst sport product, but the best event, the most unique event in racing. And I'm going to go with the Monaco Grand Prix.
Wow. I was going to take that.
Whoa! Sniped! That feels good. Listen. The Monaco Grand Prix as a television product is bad. Let's just say it. It's bad. The track now...
Oh, yeah. I know that as someone who's watched it on TV.
Okay, well, let me explain it to you then, Dan. The track now was basically built for cars that go 85 miles an hour. And the newer modern F1 cars, the track is not conducive to them being able to pass each other. So you basically win the race on qualifying. That being said, there's still passes and there's crashes. It is a very dangerous racetrack. It is incredibly tight, and you do get going pretty quickly, and you have to be very brave. It's one of the braver tracks on the calendar. But the pomp and circumstance around it is unmatched by anything in the world. Anybody who has over $500 million is going to be there. All of them. I don't even want to know what would happen. I do want to know what happened because I'm curious. So, the world economy, if, that city was bombed on Monaco Grand Prix weekend, the whole thing would crash. I don't really know. But, I find the absolute
Thanks. This episode is now flagged by the FBI.
Whatever. The absolute exuberance of the Monaco Grand Prix is really what I want to experience. This is peak gluttony. That's the right word for it.
That's exactly why I was going to pick it, because I don't even watch F1, but I just totally understand that this is going to that event. That would be the bougiest shit of all time.
Absolutely.
You can get
and you're talking about do you get the VIP ticket or not? There is no ticket to the Monaco Grand Prix that isn't a VIP ticket. The only way you get to go is by shelling out everything you have. You basically have to go in by boat with a rented yacht and park at the dock and then go to the bar.
Well, surely you're owning the yacht.
Well, yeah, surely. Yeah. If we're going all out.
I didn't think that you were going to take this because even though it's this is obviously a souped up version of it, I felt that this and the Kentucky Derby kind of fell in the same category.
I think so too, but I think the Monaco Grand Prix is more known to people who don't watch racing. And I think people who don't really care so much about the product will understand the potential heritage of the event.
Wait, are you're saying You're saying the Monaco Grand Prix is more well known than the Kentucky Derby?
No. More well known than the other races on my list, which we'll get to in the second half. But like people know the Monaco Grand Prix for the stuff around the event. Just like people who go watch the Kentucky Derby understand the pomp and circumstance, but don't know anything about horse racing. Sure. So I sort of want that. I want the notoriety, because if I take the best racing product, it's going to be something that I think people are like not super excited about that don't care about racing.
Yeah, and I would not have taken it just for my personal list, but I know that F1 is having a big moment right now because of that Netflix show.
Oh yeah, baby.
So this feels probably like good value to get at this stage in the draft.
Yeah, although if you're an F1 fan, Monaco is your least favorite race on the calendar, probably. Just because, like, watching it on TV, you don't really get the pomp and circumstance. Not in the same way you get it even by, like, watching the Masters on TV. And the racing is usually pretty boring. Usually. There have been some exciting ones in recent years, but it's usually not that great.
Why is it the most famous one, then? Because I feel like people who don't know anything about racing know about Monaco.
It's historic. I'm trying to think of, like, a good comparison to it, but I honestly can't.
Like the Ashes, maybe?
Yeah, sure. Why not? It's just got, while it's not the premiere of the sport anymore, it's never going to leave the calendar.
That's the Ashes in cricket.
There you go.
Okay. All right.
Are you going to take the Ashes in cricket?
Okay. No. God, who wants to watch cricket? No, but it was like when I was looking at like sports bucket lists, it was on a lot of them.
Okay. There's so much value to be had here by like absolutely giant things in sports that haven't been taken yet, including maybe the most popular sporting event in America outside of the Super Bowl. But I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to follow my heart. I'm going to pick something that I'm having a bit of recency bias over. Oh. Having just watched a fabulous film by the name of Creed 3. And I'm going to take a heavyweight fight night at Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
I just think it's a like unique experience. I'm not like a massive boxing fan. I just think it would be cool, right?
I think this is a mega atmosphere event, and like that totally makes sense. This was something that I considered, but I just really don't like violence, and like especially in the way that boxing is so brutal. Like
the combat sports are tough for me too.
Yeah, like if it were something like jiu-jitsu or like taekwondo or something like that
something a little more technical.
But obviously you're not going to get, hundreds of thousands of people in Madison Square Garden.
Well, there's also just like the pomp and circumstance. And honestly, I considered switching this out for like even like a WWE night, because like that's like all show, which is awesome. But like the boxing is like there's like walkout music and smoke, and like the whole night leads up to the big fight. And it's like, it's just this very anticipation type of atmosphere. And then the fight also, like, one of the few sports that can just literally end at any moment. Like, we don't have like the golden snitch type thing in all the other sports, but if you knock that person out, it's over. Congrats, you did it. So I may get a 30-second fight. I may get a 12-round fight. I have no idea.
Is boxing still bigger than UFC?
I doubt it at this point. I don't know.
Well, so this is like, it seems like a weird thing to me, because I feel like I see so much more about UFC on, just like people talking about it and doing it and seeing it. But it seems that boxers still make way more money than UFC fighters.
So
those things don't seem to compute.
Here's a stat I'll give you. Out of the top 50 pay-per-view sales, boxing holds 25 spots. UFC has 15. I think it's of the last like 10 years. Although there are a lot of predictions that it will become bigger eventually.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be trending that way.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm always like, because I remember for years the highest paid athlete was when Floyd Mayweather was still fighting, like in real fights.
And like Manny Pacquiao
was like the highest paid athlete in the world,
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, how is that? Who is still paying to watch boxing matches? I was floored by it. So, but I am with Sue that like personally I would not enjoy this, but I think objectively it is a good pick.
Okay.
Sue, it's time for your final selection. It sounds like you had your planned last pick taken from you, though.
I did, but that's okay. I think I really like this draft because there are a lot. There's just so many options. Like there's with a lot of different reasoning behind. And this was not even something that I was really thinking about taking, but for some reason it just feels right. So I'm going to go with the Stanley Cup.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. That's a great one.
Yeah, I don't have any winter sports right now, and I think that, again, gives some variety. I actually do really enjoy watching hockey. I think that it can be, especially on TV sometimes, it can be, like, hard to follow the puck, but for some reason, like, in stadium, it's, like, easier to see where the action is. And, like, man, those guys are roided out and just, like, want to fucking kill each other, but not as directly as, like a boxing match. I guess that was like, I think slightly contradictory reasoning, but I don't know. It's like it is really, it can be really fun, and you can like walk around the stadium and get funnel cakes and shit. And yeah,
playoff hockey is very intense, and I from what I've heard, the atmosphere is like pretty up there as far as pro sports go.
Plus, if you're right up against the glass, like people are like.
I was gonna say that it's like it's probably the closest you can. I mean, I guess floor seats in like the NBA are pretty close, but like you are right up on it, and that just seems really fun. I growing up, we still had the Atlanta Thrashers here, and I had a very easy time watching it when I was there. To your point, Sue, but like on TV, it must have something to do with the camera movement. Like the camera moving from right to left makes it almost impossible for me to focus in. I am sure if I like really did a deep dive and invested more into like knowing the positions and strategy better, that I could like sort of intuit where it is. Sort of in the same way, like it's not hard to follow the ball in soccer, but I can sort of see the play develop the more I watch because I get better at understanding offenses and stuff. But I have not done that with hockey, so I just find it like impossible to watch. I did watch that U.S.-Canada game in was that the Olympics? Yeah, the Winter Olympics. Last time that was like went into penalty shootout, and it was one of the coolest sporting events I've ever watched live. So like that is pretty cool.
Women's Canada-USA gold medal game is always really fun viewing.
Yeah.
Really fun viewing.
And it's in my Winter Olympics, just FYI.
That's true. Okay, so I get my final pick. And I think Preston was alluding to the World Series, I think, is what he was
indeed
alluding to as the second most popular. I would be curious to know. I feel like World Series probably isn't. I feel like NBA Finals got to be drawn bigger than World Series these days, right? I'm kind of curious to know. I'm not going to take the World Series, though. But yeah, I look it up so we can you can tell me. I am going to go baseball, though. And I am going to take, this is a very personal pick for me, but I think this is a much more, like for a neutral, a much more fun version of the World Series, and that is the College World Series. Because you get way more games, it's a whole bunch of teams, it's double elimination, it's just absolute chaos. Usually you get multiple games in the same day, rather than just 4 to 7 games. It's just like pure value. A lot better. Big history of like holding it in Omaha every year. And I just have always wanted to go watch my Florida State Seminoles play in Omaha. And don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon because they're just real bad right now, which is tough. But that's something I've always wanted to do with my dad. So I'm going pure personal, like what I actually want to do with my real life rather than trying to appease the masses with College World Series.
I respect you for getting away from the actual World Series. I do think we're going to have a conversation in the second half about why that wasn't taken as such a prolific.
It was on my list. It was on my list.
Gotcha. I can't find the World Series because like the top 18 most viewed events in 2022 were all NFL games.
All NFL, yeah.
So
NFL
it's pretty low down.
King. Yeah. All right. Well, maybe we'll find it and update you in the post-draft segments, but here are our final teams. I end up with the Men's World Cup, the Masters, Wimbledon, the Super Bowl, the Women's NCAA Tournament in college basketball, and the College World Series for baseball. And then Sue has the Summer Olympics, the WNBA Finals, the Iron Bowl, the X Games, Roller Derby National Championships, and the Stanley Cup Finals. Preston ends up with the Winter Olympics, the Men's NCAA Tournament, the Women's World Cup, Kentucky Derby, Monaco Grand Prix, and a heavyweight fight night at MSG. Of course, so much to discuss. Still, we'll do that after another quick break. right, we are back. First question, as always. Oh, Aldo, Preston, do you have an update for us? Or you still on how the...
And it looks like most games in the NBA Finals ranked above most games in the World Series. So I think you're right that the NBA Finals is pulling more, which I didn't expect.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just basketball, growing sport, baseball, a bit of a dying sport. But yeah, okay. Other than that, thank you for that update. I was genuinely curious. What was the worst pick of the draft? Sue, do you have one off the cuff for us?
I think that both of y'all's first picks could have gone later.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just can't believe that Summer Olympics didn't get taken first. I just think that is the clear number one pick. We've already hashed through this, but I don't know. I think that, like, I said this before, but like when I was first writing stuff down, I was like, oh, how are we going to do this? Like, there's only so many like super high value sports, but there's just a lot of different events. There's so many different sports out there, and there's like a lot of different events, and there's a lot of different ways to like enjoy sports. Like you can get, and this is something that I did. I'll give you a little breakdown of how I did my strategy. But I thought that, you know, I like to be well-rounded in this, and especially when we were first talking about like the best to do in a year, you know, like we want to get like some balance. Obviously it's a bucket list now, but I still kept that strategy. I wanted a group event that like give you multiple games. To me, those were the Summer Olympics, the Winter Olympics. The X Games kind of falls in that category, although I think the X Games falls more into kind of like a niche or entertainment category. Yeah. And then the World Games, which is a like, I wouldn't say that
Olympics light.
Yeah, it's Olympics light, and it's like, I actually went last year, and it's like there's some crazy shit. Like they have the weirdest fucking games like there. Like they've got like trampoline basketball and like
yeah, baby.
Like you know, kayak water polo and like all sorts of like other like stuff that you're just like, what? Like that can't be real. And so that I think would just be like entertaining. Anyways, that was one of the categories. Rivalry games, I think that gives you a very unique energy. The other one that I didn't take was Duke Carolina, obviously. But I already had a basketball thing, so thought I didn't need it. Like one of the big four events, one of the like the NBA, WNBA, some like marquee international events, which I didn't actually take, but I feel like the Olympics fell in that category. Something with like atmosphere, like Monaco, Kentucky Derby. One that I didn't take. Sorry, I'm just like taking over this segment, but I'm gonna keep going. The Tour de France. I think the problem with that is that it would be kind of hard to spectate.
Yeah, they're gonna pass you, and then like, what do you do?
See,
try and get to the.
Yeah, you mentioned the marathon. I feel like it'd be similar.
Yeah. The one thing about the Tour de France is that it would be like a very fun vacation to be out in like
it would be nice,
beautiful France. But and then just like general like niche entertainment, which is where I got these. I do have questions for if you would have considered these sports that when I was looking up sports that would be like worth watching. Okay, if they would be
like if we would consider whatever this thing is a sport
able to be drafted. Yeah.
The Westminster Dog Show.
No. Definitely not a sport.
No, unfortunately not.
Okay.
That was a very generous even moment of consideration.
The running of the bulls.
No, I mean,
no, I don't. I saw that on like a list that I was looking up.
Yeah, are there like winners?
Yeah,
I don't think
people who get to a certain point. Yeah, I don't think so. No.
Okay, a jousting tournament. At a Renaissance fair.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'd say that's a sport.
For sure.
Yeah.
That one I legitimately considered taking because that would also be just like going to a Renaissance fair, which would be a fun environment.
I actually just got taken by my lovely wife to a place called Medieval Times. Do you guys know Medieval Times?
Yeah, and I have been to Medieval Times.
They do jousting there, and it was a grand old time. I was very scared for the horses, though, basically the whole time. So I don't know that jousting would be a great event for me to go to.
Well, Medieval Times, it's all like scripted.
Yeah, but scripted all you want. They're riding horses and throwing like wood splinters at each other. It just seems crazy.
I guess.
But anyways, yes, those were my off-board picks that I was considering and how I was strategizing this draft.
Okay. I like that. For me, if we had done a year, I would have put more time into like factoring
calendarizing
like time of year. Yeah, so it's all spread out so like all my events aren't in like the spring or something. Preston, what did you think was the worst pick?
Okay, I had the worst pick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably the Winter Olympics just because I could have gotten them later, but I sort of like tried to enjoy this draft and not win it, so I'm not going to hold that against myself in the long run. And I don't know. This is one of those where I sort of like respect everybody's opinion. Is that a bad thing for this show? Probably, right? But like, this is one of those where I'm like, oh yeah, that would be cool. Like nobody had like an obviously terrible choice except for your just blatant misogyny. But besides that, it was pretty successful.
Okay, come on. Do not do that to me. That's unfair. I agree. I don't think there were any like bad picks. I think the one I was most surprised by was the X Games. It just like was not on my radar at all. Like at all. I think every other pick, well, other than the roller, also no, that's not true. The one that I was most surprised by was the roller derby
right,
championship.
Yeah.
But I love that pick, so I would never suggest it was the worst. I didn't see the X Games coming.
Can I go through the ones I had remaining on my list?
Yeah, well, that was going to be my next. That's usually my next. I don't know if you've ever listened to the show, Preston.
I haven't.
What
actually.
I do is I
usually am asleep by this part.
Yeah, and I'll also ask what other things you had on your list that you didn't.
Okay, I was just
so we can do that now.
I was really eager. Okay, I'm sorry. Do you want me to go?
It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah. Why don't you tell me yours?
All right, so I had the traditional one like NBA Finals and World Series, which didn't get taken, which I find interesting.
Oh, true. No one took the NBA Finals. That's pretty wild.
I again just don't. I feel like it's such a crapshoot on whether or not it's going to be good. Like you sometimes get Cavs Warriors, but most of the time you don't. So I don't know. I just didn't find it very consistent.
Also, I will say, with the exception of like a couple, a lot of the things we took are things that give you way more like amount of stuff to watch. Than
quantity.
An NBA Finals
right?
slip.
For sure.
Yeah.
I agree. I had the U.S. Open for tennis. I had the Champions League like final. Probably I could have just taken the final because I think it would be too much to take the entire Champions League because that's like almost a calendar year. Probably not. But Champions League final would be cool. I had Liverpool, Manchester United, which is a personal pick. And when I alluded earlier in the show to like sometimes you don't want the VIP experience, sometimes you want to sit in general admission. I want to sit in the rowdiest section of that stadium. Like I want to have beer poured on me. I want to get injured. I want to be in the spot where things are happening.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. You will not get beer poured on you at a Premier League game because they do not allow you to have beer at your seat.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What? Oh, okay. Interesting. Do you want to talk about the trauma I made you experience when you came to Atlanta? And we went to an Atlanta United game and you just got beer absolutely dumped on you.
Doused. Yeah, we can include this as a perfect patron-only segment here.
Some of the other ones, the racing events in particular, I considered the 24-hour Le Mans, which I think would be a very interesting experience. I'm not sure about like the quality of the product again, but like seeing a thing that lasts for 24 hours just would be kind of cool.
Would you stay awake for all 24 hours?
I would try, but probably fail. I wonder what like people do. Like, what's the advisory thing to do going to that? I don't know. I've never thought about it. But
well, you don't want to be asleep for the end. Probably.
No, definitely not. So take a 5-hour nap in the middle, maybe. I don't know.
Somewhere in there. Yeah.
The Indy 500 I had, but I've been 3 times. So I felt like it was weird to include on a bucket list if I've been 3 times, but it is really cool. So I would invite anybody else to put it on their bucket list. The Monza Grand Prix, which is the one in Italy, it's known on the F1 circuit as the fastest track. It's got like a lot of straights and the cars get going to their top speed. And it's a great viewing track because of the long straights. And Ferrari's home, and Ferrari's my team, and that would just be really cool. And the last one is the Las Vegas Grand Prix, which I seriously considered.
You just had a shitload of races on there.
Yeah, the Las Vegas Grand Prix I seriously considered, but it hasn't happened yet. For the first time, its first year will be this year in like November, and I sort of want to see what it's like. But I mean, people are buying rooms that look down. The race goes on the Strip. The Strip in Las Vegas is the finish line straight of the track. Like, it's going to be incredible. So I thought about that.
It's never. This is the first year of it, right?
Yeah, they've done races in Las Vegas before, but they've not like done them in the city like this. They used like the Caesar's Palace parking lot, and it was a disaster back in like the 90s. And then the most niche event I had on here, which I was never going to take, but I just wanted to talk about, was the Taylor University Silent Night basketball game. Are you guys aware of this?
Yeah.
So It's a basketball game they play around Christmas. Taylor University, very small school.
Teeny tiny college.
They're playing in basically a high school stadium, and honestly, like a small high school stadium at that. But all the fans get in, and it's unbelievably quiet. Nobody is saying a word. You are not like allowed to speak. And you go in to watch this game, and everybody's decked out in crazy gear, and they're all painted up, but it's silent. And like I said, it's around Christmas, which is why it's called the Silent Night game. And the first point that Taylor University scores, which is usually in like the first minute, everybody rushes the court and loses their mind. And it's just this anybody should look it up. We'll post a YouTube link. I'll post a YouTube link in the Discord at some point. But like, it's so unbelievably unique that I feel like it would just be really cool to be a part of for one time. And also a very confined experience. I mean, Daniel, you've seen it. Like that stadium holds like 1,000 people. Like it's
tiny,
very small.
Or like you said, like a small high school.
But every 5 or 6 years, ESPN does a story on how weird it is, and it makes national headlines, and then they sort of go back into their obscurity. And I think it's a neat thing.
Mm-hmm. Sue, I know you went through a list already. Do you have any others that were on your list that you ended up not taking?
The only other ones were, I don't know if I said US Open as well. I strongly considered that in the last one, but it felt like it had less weight when you already had Wimbledon. So,
sure.
But yeah, that about covers it. Actually, well, the one other thing that I considered, because I hate baseball, but I think that this would be the most interesting version of baseball, is the Savannah Bananas, which you might have seen.
Oh yeah,
like,
their
TikTok.
weird rules.
Yeah. And they like try to make baseball interesting, basically.
It's really hard to get tickets to them these days, actually. My parents keep trying to go because they live down there and they're having a hard time. But yeah.
So that could be fun, but it just wasn't a big enough draw for me to make it worth it.
Anybody consider the Little League World Series? No. It just seems like a weird event. I guess part of the fun is watching it on TV, because then you get the weird little interviews where the kids talk about like their celebrity crushes and stuff, and I just find it super cute. So I guess going in person would just be strange, and you'd probably get weird looks.
Yeah. I strongly considered the Women's College Softball World Series instead of College World Series, because I think, like, in a lot of ways, softball is a lot more fun than baseball these days.
And it's very critically
is put
shorter.
In play a lot more.
Shorter, which is huge when it comes to baseball or baseball-related activities.
Yeah. But just, I grew up a big Florida State baseball fan. I've always wanted to see the World Series, so personal preference pulled out there. FA Cup final, El Clasico were two other big soccer games.
Yeah.
El Clasico really would be a big one. I definitely had El
special.
Clasico quite a bit higher than FA Cup. And the NBA Finals World Series also had UNC Duke specifically at Cameron Indoor. I think that would be a cool atmosphere to witness in person. And then I also had the Rose Bowl, which is like my other big football game. Here's a special question. What is the biggest sporting event that, like, the most bucket list event that you guys have been to? For Preston, it probably is the Iron Bowl 7 times.
Well, Iron Bowl 7 times. I've been to the Indy 500 a bunch.
That's
a little more niche, but relative to maybe our crowd, is I went to the U23 Frisbee World Championships, which was just entertaining because it's a bunch of college kids, many of which are traveling for the first time in their lives outside of the country, and it just it was a really cool environment to watch all these kids from countries play each other. So yeah, it's probably one of those. Yeah, I went to Eastern Conference Finals NBA when the Hawks played the Bucks, which was a great time.
That's a good one.
Even though Hawks lost, that I found very strange, because maybe it's just like an Atlanta thing, but people got to their seats like halfway through the second quarter and then left like halfway through the third. And I'm like, what are you doing? Game? There were people next to us and all around in our section that got there so late and then left so early. And I was, I don't understand. These tickets are so expensive.
Yeah, that's wild.
I think I've been to more exciting games, but I just can't none of them are coming to mind. The women's college soccer semifinals
Mm-hmm.
was in Cary, North Carolina this year, and I went, and it was a freaking wild game. Like,
you went to that?
Yeah, it was awesome.
I had wanted to go to that, and I dillied out on buying tickets for too long.
Yeah, unfortunately UNC lost, but it was like it literally, like, we went up 2 and then they came back and then it was 2-1, and they, like, in college soccer it's like fully to time, like, and so they like scored on a corner kick buzzer beater to go to overtime.
It was very dramatic.
It was
I
amazing.
remember that.
That was a good one.
That's real cool.
Yeah, Florida State is in it. They make the Final Four pretty much every year. So I had wanted to get the tickets and just didn't do it. But yeah, that does seem like that seems like a good one. For me, I mean, the U.S. Open would probably be my biggest, but it was like very early. It was like second round or something. But I did see Caroline Wozniacki get upset, which was pretty exciting. And then, like, Kei Nishikori and Gail Monfils played one really amazing set, and then Monfils pulled out in, like, the second set. But that was cool. And I've been to the Disc Golf World Championships twice, which would probably be my other big one.
That's cool. Yeah.
And then, like, FSU football rivalry games, which are,
yeah, it's hard to pick.
And when FSU was like I went to school when FSU was like competing, like going to the playoff and winning the national championship, so the atmosphere was pretty good for those. But it sounds like both of y'all have me beat there. But that does it for the show. You'll have to let us know. Oh wait, no, I have to ask whose bucket list.
Yeah,
did
have
most
you listened to the show before, Dan?
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Good
No,
grief.
I just know none of you are gonna pick mine, so I was trying to skip over that part. But yeah, whose bucket list is the bucketiest for each of you? And when you pick your own, you got to give me a runner-up.
I'm definitely picking mine. I feel like this is one of those where it's probably okay to pick your own. I just so badly want to go to Monaco and the Kentucky Derby and some of my lower picks. I mean,
yours maybe has the highest monetary value of all of them, or so.
Right? Yeah. If you sold the tickets to these 6 events, you could really be set, honestly, for life. Well, I'm tempted to pick Sue's, but I've been to a lot of Iron Bowls. I like going, but I feel like I'll go regardless.
Okay, we'll say this one is special because this is the one you get to go to with Sue.
Oh, well, then I'm picking Sue's team for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. No question.
Yeah, that's fair.
I truly, like, the Super Bowl and the Masters picks really hold absolutely no interest to me. So that's, like, hard for me to pick, even though Women's March Madness would be really good. So I think I probably would go for Preston's as well. Also, just because I think even though, I don't know, the Olympics feel really special. So, like, getting one of those on the list is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Sue for me. Just for, I mean, Preston just has some that I just don't care about. Yeah, I mean, Monaco really couldn't care less.
But you'd have a great time in Monaco, though.
I don't know that I would.
Oh
I think I would be kind of grossed out by all the
capitalisms. You sort of have to put that aside.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that.
Okay. Well, you remember, like, back in, like, the olden days, they'd pay gladiators, and usually the people who sponsored the gladiators and, like, could afford the best gladiators, they would win on behalf of their sponsors, like the big corporate backers.
Their patrons.
That's what F1 is. It is a fight to see who can capitalism the best of anybody else. So, like, if we're going to live in this really effed up world, we might as well see people fight about the thing they're best at.
You're really not selling me on it, I've got to be honest.
Okay.
And then what was like the heavyweight fight wouldn't do much for me either. Fine. I think it would be a little off-putting to me as well. And I do think the Olympics would be very fun. WNBA finals would be incredible, especially if you're sitting courtside. That would be really awesome. And the Stanley Cup for Suze, I think outweigh any 3 that Preston has on his end. So I'm going with Sue.
That's fine.
But as always, it comes down to your vote. And remember, we aren't doing the Twitter vote anymore, but we will post the link to our Google form in the show notes. You won't even have to leave where you're listening to the show to go vote. So that's helpful. Join the conversation at Discord. Let us know, whose picks were good and whose were bad and why, and which sporting event did we just completely miss that we, maybe we haven't even heard of. But thanks so much for participating. Everyone who's already in the Discord, you guys make doing the show super fun. Mm-hmm. And Sue, thank you, of course, for coming on. It is always great to have you. Where can the people go to support you these days?
Thank you for having me, y'all. It's always a pleasure to be here. You can find me at Sue_digital_media on Instagram for my photography. But I'm gonna plug the Premier Ultimate League and specifically the Raleigh Radiance. We've got a game. Well, this won't be out by the time the game is happening, but we have games on. The next game will be on Sunday, the 30th of April. You can watch that there. We've got a couple more away games happening as well. So on the Premier Ultimate League YouTube channel, you can find that, and just follow us at Raleigh Radiance. We put out some good content. I'm going to be taking some photos at these next couple games, so we'll have some good content there.
Also follow the Radiance Instagram. They post, they do iconic shots of the players' arrival fits, and the players go out. It's really fun. Also, you'll hear a familiar voice if you're listening to the home games for the Radiance, calling the games, because I'll be doing play-by-play, which I'm very excited about. So you can catch more Daniel content there as well. But also, Sue does amazing photography and photo editing work, so please do go support them as well on their own Instagram account. That would mean a lot to us because Sue is a big friend of the show.
Still a friend of the show?
Yeah.
Do you want to let Sue decide whether or not Sue is a friend of the show?
I'll probably forgive Daniel by the time this show comes out. Don't worry.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Thank goodness.
Good thing it comes out in 3 years.
That's enough. That will hopefully be enough time for us to move it under the bridge. But guys, thanks so much for listening. Appreciate it so much. You know where to support the show, where to find the show, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Sue,
Sue,
I hate to do this to you. I hate to do this to you, but when you get animated at Dan, you click your pen very hard.